back and welcome to a new video on one more gymnosperm called Pinus. Pinus is called chill pine in India and it is called by different names all over the world. There are about 126 species distributed all over the world, but mostly Pinus grows in the temperate regions in the northern hemisphere. It also grows in some parts of tropics in the southern hemisphere, but usually it prefers to grow on the slopes of mountains, and in India it is usually found growing in Himalayan region. It is also there in Ooty and Kodaikanal areas. Luxuriant pine forests are there in Ooty, which are usually used for producing movies. They are used as the background for many of the Hindi movies in India. Pinus is a majestic cone-shaped tall evergreen tree which has got a number of xerophytic characters. It grows from about 100 to 250 feet in height. There are some dwarf pines also, but usually it's a very tall and evergreen tree. Pinus is a slow growing but long living. The plant is very well differentiated into root system and shoot system. There is a monopodial main stem which produces two types of branches, long shoots and dwarf shoots. Dwarf shoots are called spurs with a very small stem and foliage leaves, and the foliage leaves are needle shaped. The number of needles per spur or per dwarf shoot varies from 1 to 5, and there are scale leaves. So branches are dimorphic, two types of branches are there. Leaves are also dimorphic. There are two types of leaves, scaly leaves and foliage leaves. Foliage leaves are commonly called needles.
Pinus is a large, perennial, evergreen plant. Branches grow spirally and thus the plant is conical. Plant is differentiated into roots, monopodial stem and needle-like leaves. The stem is cylindrical and erect, and remains covered with bark. Two types of branches are present, long shoots and dwarf shoots. Many scaly leaves and dwarf shoots are present on the long shoot. A dwarf shoot has scale leaves and needles. The number of needles vary from 1 to 5. Outermost layer of the circular roots is thick-walled epiblema with many root hair. Inner to the cortex is present a layer of endodermis and many layers of pericycle. Vascular bundles are radial and diarch to tetrarch with exarch protoxylum. Stems outermost single-layered, thick-walled epidermis is heavily cuticularized and followed by multi-layered cortex. A few outer layers of cortex are sclerenchymatous, and some inner layers are parenchymatous. In the inner layers of cortex are present many resin canals. The stele is eustelic or polyfascicular endarch siphonostel. Vascular bundles are conjoint, collateral, open and endarch, and resemble greatly with that of a dicot stem. 5 to 10 bundles. Endarch xylem consists of only tracheids. Phloem is present on the ventral side and consists of sieve cells, sieve plates, phloem parenchyma and some albuminous cells. Intrafascicular cambium is present in between the xylem and phloem. Secondary growth, similar to that of a dicotyledonous stem, is present in the old stem of Pinus. Cork cambium cuts cork towards outer side and a few layers of secondary cortex towards inner side. Secondary growth, similar to that of a dicotyledonous stem, is present in the old stem of Pinus. Cork cambium cuts cork towards outer side and a few layers of secondary cortex towards inner side. Outermost layer is epidermis in the needle, which consists of thick-walled cells. It is covered by a very strong cuticle. Many sunken stomata are present on the epidermis. Each stoma opens internally into a substomatal cavity. Below the epidermis are present a few layers of thick-walled sclerenchymatous hypodermis. It is well developed at ridges. Cells of the mesophyll are polygonal and filled with chloroplasts. Many peg-like enfoldings make it arm parenchyma. Few resin canals are present in the mesophyll, adjoining the hypodermis. Their number is variable but generally they are 2 in number. Learnchymatous cells forming T-shaped girder, which separates two vascular bundles. Two conjoint and collateral vascular bundles are present in the center. These are closed, but cambium may also present in the sections passing through the base of the needle. Xylem lies towards the angular side and the phloem towards the convex side. Two conjoined and collateral vascular bundles are present in the center. These are closed, but cambium may also present in the sections passing through the base of the needle. Xylem lies towards the angular side and the phloem towards the convex side.
Pinus is monoecious. Both male and female reproductive structures are produced in the same plant. Male cones and female cones are produced on different branches. Generally, male cones are produced on the lower branches. Female cones are produced on the upper branches to avoid self-pollination, to facilitate cross-pollination. The male cone has got a central axis surrounded by microsporophylls. Each microsporophyll has two microsporangiae in which wing-shaped bisaccate pollen grains are produced. A female cone is made up of a central axis surrounded by megasporophylls, and each megasporophyll has got two ovules on the upper side. And the ovules are made up of three-layered envelope inside which there is a nucellus, and the nucellus has got archegonia. In the archegonia there is egg cell.
The male cones develop in clusters in the axil of scaly leaves on long shoot. They replace the dwarf shoots of the long shoot. Each male cone is ovoid in shape. A male cone consists of a large number of microsporophylls arranged spirally. A microsporophyll is comparable with the stamen of the flower of angiosperms because it consists of a stalk with a terminal leafy expansion of the tip of which is projected upwards and called apophysis. Two pouch-like microsporangia are present. Microsporangia are present on the undersurface of each microsporophyll. In each microsporangium are present many microspores. Each microspore or pollen grain is besiccate or winged. They are anemophilous or wind-pollinated.
Pollination is anemophilous. Pollination occurs by wind, and to facilitate wind pollination, the pollen grains are bisaccate or winged. And fertilization is said to be siphonogamous, where the pollen grain germinates and produces the pollen tube, which produces the male gametes, and these male gametes fuse the egg in the archegonium and bring about fertilization.
Female cone develops either solitary or in groups in the axil of scaly leaves on long shoots. Female cone is an ovoid structure when young but becomes elongated or cylindrical at maturity. Many megasporophylls are arranged spirally on the cone. Female cone develops either solitary or in groups in the axil of scaly leaves on long shoots. Female cone is an ovoid structure when young but becomes elongated or cylindrical at maturity. Many megasporophylls are arranged spirally on the cone. Each megasporophyll consists of two types of scales, known as bract scales and ovuliferous scales. Bract scales are thin, dry, membranous, brown-colored structures having fringed upper part. These are also called carpellary scales. An ovuliferous scale is present on the upper surface of each bract scale. Each auriferous scale is woody, bigger and stouter than bract scale, and it is triangular in shape. A broad sterile structure called apophysis is at the tip. At the base of upper surface of each ovuliferous scale are present two sessile and naked ovules. Micropyle of each ovule faces towards the cone axis. Each ovule is orthotropous, and it remains surrounded by a single three-layered integument. It opens with a mouth opening called micropyle. Integument surrounds the megasporangium or nucellus. Just opposite the micropyle is present a pollen chamber. Egg cells or female gametes are present in 2 to 5 archegonia. Pollen grains enter the ovule through the micropyle and deposited in the archegonial chamber. They germinate and release the male gametes into the archegonia. Ovules directly transform into seeds. Seeds are dispersed from third-year cone.
Sperms are producing naked seeds. Ovules directly transform into seeds. There are no fruits and there are no ovaries in gymnosperms.
Pinus is highly economical. Wood is very strong. It used to be used in making the fish plates of railway tracks. Turpentine is made from the Pinus resin. Wood is also used in making the furniture.
Thank you very much for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe. We'll meet again in the next video with some other topic. Thank you.